is related to usage of variables and some of the important standard library functions such as printf, scanf and all. And for this, I will not be using the IDE which I installed, okay? What I do is I use one online compiler called Online GDB, which is very much easy to use, okay? And it only requires internet connection. So you can also use this for a time being. Later we'll use our Eclipse IDE install to write programs, okay? Of course, you cannot program your target board using this tool, but you can practice some basic syntaxes of C program. But for any reason, if you can't able to use this online tool, then don't worry at all. You can use the IDE install. Anyway, now you already know how to create a project, compile it and execute, right? Great, now let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the lecture. So now let's start with small. Let's first write a simple C program. Let's write a C code which simply displays the text hello world on the console and exits. And for this, I'm going to use the online IDE. And if you don't have access to internet, then no problem. You can always use the offline IDE. Let's head over to the IDE. And here, let me just create a new project. So now let's click new project here. So now let's click save. In order to save our project, let's give the name hello world and let's save. Alright, so our project name is hello world, and under that project we have one source file that is called as main.c, which is added by this tool automatically. So now for some people you may not able to see this main.c. In that case, what you should do is you should go and select this language. So here you can see that the C language is selected automatically, but for some people it may not have selected, so that's why you have to select appropriate language here. And also if you go to the settings, so you can select the theme, dark or light, and editor mode, font size, and other things you can change here, and the compiler flags you can also modify here. Let's close this, and this is our main.c, and now let's delete everything. So I'm just going to press Ctrl A and I'm going to delete everything. Let's write a simple C program which displays the text hello world on the console. Alright, so please remember that every C program has at least one function that is called main function. So main is actually the starting point of your program execution. A C program is nothing but collection of various functions, and it should contain at least one function, and that is called as main function. So now let's write the main function. So don't worry about functions, its prototype and other details. So we have separate section for that to understand functions. At this point, it would be too early to explore all those things. So let's write a main function in our C source file. For that, just type the function name, that is main, and after that you have to put the parentheses. So these are the parentheses, and after that you have to mention the return type of this function, that is actually int. This is according to the standard. So according to the C90 and C99 standard, main should return int. So that's what standard says. Alright, no problem. So this is a prototype of the main function, and this is a function name, that is main. And now let's give the body of the function. So every function will have its own body, and that is identified by these brackets. Alright, so now what we just implemented is actually a function definition. So this is called as function definition, where it has the prototype at the beginning and it has its body. So now inside this body, we are going to write code, and that code will be executed by the main when the main function is called. And in this program, our job is just to print the text hello world. And in order to print something on the console, the C standard library gives one function for us, and that function name is printf. So printf, and this is a function in order to print some text. and it can do various things, but for a time being, let's use this to print some text. So write printf, and after that give the parenthesis again. Alright, so and after that you have to mention your message in double quotes. So now let's first write the double quotes. So just write a double quote and the IDE will convert that into two double quotes, because your message must be in between these double quotes. So that's what printf expects. So your message should be in between two double quotes. So now here let's write our message. So our message is hello world. So now in C programming, remember that every C executable statement should end with semicolon. So here, this is a body of the function, right? And in the body of the function, we have one C statement that is actually a call to the printf function with our message, right? And this is a C statement and it should end with semicolon. So otherwise compiler will throw errors. So that's why let's end this statement with a semicolon. So this is not true if you are coming from the background of Python, let's say. So in Python, it is not required, but in C, C++, yes, every statement should end with a semicolon. All right, so after that, we need to do one more important thing. That is, we have to include a standard library header file. Now about the header file and why we should include that and all those things we'll understand later. So in the later part of the course, we are also going to understand about the compilation process and various other things. So let's not worry about that. But remember that in this source file, we have used a function called printf, which is not written by us. It is given by the standard library of C. And compiler should need to understand the prototype of that printf function. And the prototype of that printf function is written in a file called header file. And that header file name is stdio.h. And we have to include that file into our project. And now to include a file, you have to use #include directive. So now it is written something like this, #include. So this is a directive which is used to indicate inclusion of another file. And that another file name is stdio.h. This is written by the technical committee or the developers who develop the C standard library. So now, since it's a standard library header file, it has to be enclosed by these symbols. So this is a way you include stdio.h. So this is a include directive and this is a file name. And since it is from standard library, so you have to use this lesser than and greater than symbols, which is fine. So you can also include a header file which is written by you. So that is also possible, and more on that we'll see later. All right, now let's compile and run our code. And for that, in this IDE, there is only one button which will compile and run your code, and you have to press this run button. Let's click over here. And here you can see that it is compiling and the output is produced and it is successfully printed the text hello world on the console. So you successfully completed the very first C application. All right, so now I want you to do one small settings in this project. So go to the settings here and go to the compiler flags. And here just give hyphen and type save temps. So just write this compiler argument. So this is a compiler argument, save temps, and click OK and click done here. And after that, again run the file. And here it is. So it has created so many files. So these are the output files produced in the process of compilation. Remember that this is a main.c written by you, which is a source file which is given to the compiler for compilation. And the first file which is produced during the compilation is a pre-processed file. So that we call as main.i. And here you can see that main.i is nothing but the collection of your code. This is written by you and contents of the stdio.h. now your main.c converted into main.i, which is a huge file, isn't it? So your file had only 8 lines, but look at main.i, it now has 849 lines. So what happened was here, so when compiler saw this line, that is stdio.h, compiler included all the contents of this file into this main.c, and then it converted that file to main.i, which is the output of the preprocessor stage of the compilation process. And here the compiler actually looks at the prototype of this function. So which is written somewhere here. You have to set that. So here there is no search option actually. So what I would do is I would just copy this contents, and here I will just search for printf. So which is right here. Just search for printf and just click on match whole word only. And here it is. This is a printf function called by you, and here it is. So this is a prototype of the function printf. So compiler wants this signature. So this is also called as a function signature. So that's the purpose why we added that stdio.h. So first main.i is produced, then after that main.i is converted into main.s, which is collection of assembly instructions. So your higher level language is converted into a little lower level language that is called as assembly language. So now assembly instructions are generated for your .c file. And after that, this will be converted into a machine code, and that we call as main.o. So this is also called as object file. So you can see that it is not possible to read the contents of this file because it contains the machine code. So more on that we'll see later again. And we'll discuss all these things when we actually do programming on our target. So that is our embedded target. At this point, I just wanted to briefly introduce the intermediate files. So all these intermediate files you can get by adding the compiler flag called save temps, and I'm going to remove that. So it is not required for each and every project. So that's about the very first application, Hello World, and I will give you a small assignment. All right, so now I will give you one assignment. So you have to modify the program what we have just written to print these messages. So in the first line, it has to print hello world, and in the second line, it has to print today is a great day. So just try to think how you can able to achieve this, and you can use 2 printf statements, no problem. So just think how you can do this, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Hey, welcome back to the lecture. So in the previous lecture, I actually gave you one small assignment, right? So if you couldn't able to do that, no problem. Let's try in this lecture. So our requirement was to print this text, that is, today is a great day, in a new line, isn't it? Let's see how we can do that. All right, most of you might have tried like this. And now let's see how this goes. Let's run. And here you can see that. So this is not actually our expected output, right? So here we want to push this text to the next line. So by this, you can understand the behavior of the printf function. So printf actually never causes cursor to move to the next line. So unless you mention the printf to do that. So let's give a couple of space here in order to comprehend this. So let me give a couple of space here and let me run. And here you can see that when the first printf is executed, the cursor was here, right? And after that, when the next printf is executed, the printing is actually continued from there onwards, right? So that's the behavior which you can notice from this code, right? So now how to tell the printf to push the cursor to the next line? So that you can tell by passing some code to the printf function. And that code is n. N means new line or line feed. So, but you cannot simply write n here, right? So what happens if you simply write n? So it will be treated just like another character, right? If I run this, what happens? The n will be printed now. right? So that is actually expected output. So in order to give special meaning to this character, so you have to use an escape character. And in C, the escape character is backslash. Let's give a backslash character. Right, slash, backslash. So now this is called as an escape sequence. An escape sequence is collection of two characters. One is backslash and another one is code. So here N is a code to push the cursor to the new line. So you can use this escape sequence wherever you want. It need not be at the end. You can use it anywhere you want. Let's compile the code once again. And here it is. So we now got the expected output. So now here what happened was, so when printf printed all these characters, it actually saw a special sequence here. So that means it will treat the character N as a code to push the cursor to the second line or new line. So like this, in C, there are various escape sequences. So you can give this escape sequence anywhere you want. So I can give here, I can give here, I can give here, here. Let's see what is the output of this program. And here you can see that this is the output. So after W, so this is treated as an escape sequence to push the cursor to the new line. So that's why cursor went to the new line, and after that it printed O. And again cursor went to the new line, it printed R, and so on. All right, so in the next lecture, let's discuss some more escape sequences available in C programming language. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back to the lecture. So in this lecture, let's explore about escape sequences which are available in C programming language. And in the previous lecture, we actually explored about one escape sequence, that is \n, which is nothing but new line or line feed. And apart from that, there are various other escape sequences are available, which you can use in your program along with printf function. And you can also use this with other standard library functions. For example, \t is used for inserting horizontal tab. So a tab is nothing but collection of 4 spaces. So you can use /t in order to insert a tab. And also /0 is considered as a null character. So more on that we'll see later when we talk about strings. And after that, /r is known as a carriage return. And about that we'll discuss in a moment, don't worry. And if you want to print backslash, then you can use this escape sequence. And if you want to print double quote, then you can use this escape sequence. So now let's understand what is the difference between /n and /r. So remember that /n moves the cursor to the beginning of the new line vertically, but /r moves the cursor to the beginning of the current line horizontally. Now to understand this, let's do a small exercise. So now here, let's modify this application. So now here I'm going to print hello world and I'm going to give /r instead of /n. And here I'm going to remove this text and I'm just going to write bye. Let's see how the output looks like. Let's run this code. And here it is. So the output, you can see that it is just printing by word. So now let's analyze what's happening here. So remember that /r moves the cursor to the beginning of the current line horizontally. So to understand this, so this is a program we have written, and when we execute first printf, so this is what happens. So the output will be hello world and cursor will be here at the last character, right? And this is line 1. So which is this one? This is the line 1, let's say. So hello world will be printed. And after that, there is a /r, isn't it? So when printf encounters /r, then what happens is this cursor will be moved to the beginning of the current line horizontally. So the next printf will execute now, which is from here, because this is now the current position of the cursor. So that's why the old text will be overwritten with a new string that is by. And now this is the position of the new cursor. So that's the reason why you see this output. Alright, so with that note, I would like to end this video, but before ending this video, I would like to give you one small assignment. So write a program which displays these two strings. The first line should look something like this. David says, programming is fun. Remember that you should display this text inside the double quotations. And also in the second line, you should print good day. So try to modify printf statements to print something like this. I'll see you in the next lecture. In order to print a double quote, you have to use this escape sequence, that is backslash double quote. So now if you want single quote, then you can use backslash single quote. No problem, you can do that. So let's run. Yes, you can see that it has printed with single quote. Or you can omit this. No problem with that. You can omit the backslash and you can do this also. Let's run. So both are one and the same and it should work fine. All right, so before ending this video, let me give you one assignment. So write a program to print the below text using printf function. So you can download and copy the text from a resource section of this lecture. So just check the resource section of this lecture to download these text. So remember that the output should exactly look something like this. And you should maintain all the punctuations, all the special characters, everything you have to maintain exactly shown in this text message. So you can either use a single printf function or multiple printf functions. So you can do whichever way you want, no problem with that. So but output should look exactly like this. And I will try to give the solution of this assignment in the next lecture. I'll see you in the next lecture. And at the end slash n. This is a triple quoted string, and here there are multiple double quotes. So we have to use backslash for every double quote here. And after that, at the end slash n. So now this resolves all the issues. So now let's run this program. So here it is. So we actually got the output. So this is the correct output. So we got exactly the way we wanted. And with that note, I would like to end this lecture. So if you are confused, so just spend some time with the code and try to understand the syntaxes. And if you still have issues, then feel free to raise your questions in the course discussion board. And I'll see you in the next lecture. Multiple line commenting. So in order to start multiple line commenting, so you can begin with / followed by an asterisk, and after that you can write whatever you want. Let's say this is my first program, and after that you end the commenting by using asterisk followed by the /. So this is a comment. Here, if you want to add one more line, then you can give enter and you can add one more comment. So this is comment line 1. And after that, you can add one more line. This is comment line 2, like that. So you can see that all these lines are in between these markers. So this is what we call as multi-line commenting. So we can convert all these things into single line commenting. So for single line commenting, you have to use double / for each line, like this. So this is actually the single line commenting. So remember that this is not allowed. So you cannot do like this. This is not allowed. So this is used only for single line commenting, like that. So that's about multi-line commenting and single line commenting. In the next lecture, let's explore about C data types and variables. I'll see you in the next lecture.